evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to UT Ancient Drama's performance of Euripides Orestes. I'd also like to wish a happy Mother's Day to all the moms in the audience. I just ask that you don't tell my mother what I'm up to this evening. With that said, I just want to say a big thank you to the cast and crew who basically from the fall work with me on translating a script and then in the spring start practicing. So a big thank you from me to them. They're a wonderful group to work with. Finally, I just ask that you make sure that your phone is either on vibrate or silent. You're welcome to take pictures during the show. Just make sure the flash function is off. All right, thank you so much and enjoy the show.
There is no story, either about human suffering or about God-given pains, so terrible to tell that humanity can't bear it. I won't say much about him, you know, that blessed man, Zeus's son, Tantalus. He is afraid of the rock that dangles above his head, the one that hangs in the air as a punishment. They say that this is because, as a mortal who was fortunate enough to break bread with the gods, he still had a big mouth and a sick mind. Now his son Pelops had a son named Atreus, for whom the wool-combing goddess spun out a fate of war and strife with his brother Thyestes. I'm not sure I should even remind you of this, but Atreus killed his nephews and fed them to their father. I won't relate what happened after that, but glorious Agamemnon, if he really was glorious, and his brother Menelaus were born to Atreus and Cretan Europa. Menelaus married Helen, that woman despised by all of the gods, and Agamemnon married Clytemnestra, from which union us three maidens were born, Chrysothemis, Iphigenia, and me, Electra. And they also had a son, Orestes, from that same unholy mother. That woman wrapped her husband in a robe and then killed him. While it's not proper for a maiden to talk about these things, I'll allow you to investigate this obscurity with me. Why do we blame the injustice of Apollo for these things, you may well ask? Well, it's Apollo who convinced Orestes to kill the mother that gave birth to him. And not everyone thought that this was right. And while Orestes only killed her so as not to disobey the order of a god, I even took part in the murder, as much as a woman can, as did Pylades. Now poor Orestes lay sick, wasting away by some vicious illness. He lies here in bed, while the blood of his mother twists him into crazy spells. But it is those who I dare not name, the Eumenides, that really drive him crazy with fear. It's been 6 days since our mother was murdered and her flesh was cleansed by the flames. After that, he won't eat, he won't bathe, he stays tucked under this blanket. Whenever the illness recedes from his body, he becomes lucid, he cries out, and once he leapt up from the bed like a horse from its yoke. Meanwhile, all of Argus has been commanded that they are not to receive us at their hearths, and they've been told that they are not to speak with the mother killers. And today is the fateful day on which they will decide whether we should be executed by the blade or by stoning. And yet, we do have some hope that we won't die. Menelaus is sailing on a swift ship from Troy, and he will dock at the Nauplian harbors. While he wandered for a long time, he sent Helen from the walls of Troy to our house, that bringer of grief. And she was hidden by the night, so that no one whose son died at Troy would see her walking around in the day. Now she lies inside, crying about the death of her sister and bemoaning the misfortune of her family. And yet, she has had some break from this whole ordeal. When she left for the walls of Troy, she left behind her maiden daughter Hermione for my mother to raise. Now Menelaus has sent Hermione from Sparta in order to make Helen happy and lift her spirits. From here I can see everything on the road, and I will know when Menelaus is coming that he is our final hope, unless he decides not to help us. What a terrible misfortune, and an unlucky house.
Oh, hello, you spinster daughter of Clytemnestra and Agamemnon. Oh, but how are you and that terrible mother-killing brother of yours, Orestes, doing? Oh, but don't worry, I'm not dirtying myself by speaking to you, since it was Apollo's fault after all. But still, I cry for the fate of my sister, because I didn't get to see her before I sailed to Troy on the god-angered sea. Now I weep over what happened to her out of guilt for that I didn't get to see her before I left.
Helen, why do I need to tell you what you can clearly see before you? I sit idle, sleeplessly caring for his lifeless body. I mean, he's a corpse, barely breathing, but I refuse to blame him for what happened. Meanwhile, you and your husband get to live it up and visit us in our miserable condition.
How long has he been like this?
Since he killed our mother.
That poor woman, she sealed her own fate when she gave birth to him.
Well, this is how he's been, since he chose to do Apollo's bidding.
Tell me, my girl, would you do something for me?
Sure, with all the free time that a caretaker has.
Would you go to the grave of my sister for me?
You want me to visit my mother's grave? Why?
Well, to take her these libations and my locks of hair.
Shouldn't you visit the grave of your own loved one?
Well, I'm scared of the Argive mob.
You're making a good choice, since you did leave your entire family in disgrace.
You speak the truth, but not kindly.
Who in Mycenae doesn't love you?
I'm afraid of the fathers of those who died at Troy.
As you should be. I mean, your name is cursed by the Argives.
Well then, do me this favor and free me from my fear.
I don't even want to look at my mother's grave.
That's too bad then. I guess the servants will have to take these libations.
Why don't you send your daughter Hermione?
Well, it's not really proper for girls to cut through crowds.
Surely she would want to give back in this way to the woman who was like a mother to her.
You're right. You've convinced me. I will send my daughter. Hermione, sweetie! Hermione, take these libations in my locker here and go to the grave of Clytemnestra. Once you've got her out of her tomb, pour the honey sweet milk in the foamy wine, and say this: Helen, your sister, brings you these offerings because she is too afraid of the Argive mob to come herself. Then tell her to think kindly of me, of you, of your father, and these two despicable children whom the gods destroyed. Once you've done that, promise her all of the funerary offerings that it is proper for someone to give their sister. Go now, take these libations, and go as quickly as possible, and don't get lost on your way home.
Nature, what a curse you are for mankind, although also a savior for those who live well. Look how she only's cutting off the tips of her hair. Isn't she just preserving her beauty? She's the same woman as before. May the gods smite you for destroying both us and all of Greece. Fuck me. Here come my friends to sing by my side. Oh, they wake me up. I'm gonna kill them. I can't stand this. Friends, step softly. Don't make a sound. Be quiet. I know your intentions are good, but if you wake him up, I'm screwed.
Yes, shh. Clumping around.
Get back, away from the bed.
Okay.
Speak softly, my friends.
Slow and steady, slow and steady.
Now, come on. Take a look and then step away. Tell me why you've come. He's been bettering for a long time.
How is he? Tell us, Eli. What happened? What's the problem?
He's still breathing, but barely.
I mean, what does that even mean?
You guys have told me if you wake him from his sleep.
Oh, you poor bastard, you victim of the gods.
I'm exhausted. Injustice follows more injustices, and all because Apollo, as he sits on his tripod at Themis, ordered the unnatural death of our mother.
Did you see that? I think he just moved underneath the sheets.
Idiot, your noise woke him from his sleep.
Oh, he's still sleeping.
Oh, will you just stop walking around the house?
He's still sleeping.
still right. Queen Night, giver of sleep to hard-working men, come from limbo. Come on your wings to the house of Agamemnon. We've been repeatedly trampled by pain and suffering. Oh, shut your mouth and let him sleep.
What's gonna happen to him next?
Death, what else? He won't eat.
His fate is clear then.
Apollo offered us as a sacrifice when he ordered the pathetic, unholy murder of my father-killing mother.
But it was just.
Yes, but it wasn't done well. Oh, Mother, you killed and then were killed. You destroyed my father, and with your death, you have destroyed us. And destroyed, we are as good as dead. Now you're among the dead, while I've spent a large portion of my life weeping, groaning, and crying the nights away. I'm unmarried and childless, and have to drag myself through this pathetic life forever.
Electra, since you're near him, why don't you make sure he hasn't passed without notice? His stillness is scaring me.
Oh, dear charm of sleep, go to the sick. How sweetly you've come to me when I was in need. O Lethe, queen of evils, how wise you are, and how often you are summoned by unlucky men. How did I get here? Where was I before? I can't remember anything from before.
Dear brother, you fell on this bed and got some much-needed rest. Do you want me to lift you up?
Yes, please, lift me up. Wipe the foam and crust from my eyes and mouth.
There. It's a pleasure to help my brother. I would never refuse to do what a sister should do for her brother.
You prop me up. Put your side to my side and brush away the dried out hair from my eyes. I can barely see.
Oh, your hair is so filthy. You haven't had a good bath in so long.
Lie me on the bed again. Whenever that wild illness flares up, I become so weak and boozy.
All right. Bed rest is needed for a sick boy. While it's terrible to be bedridden, it's necessary.
Actually, stand me up again and turn me around. Sick people are so hard to please.
Are you sure you're well enough to be on your feet? Although movement is good.
Yes, because at least I will look better in appearance. Better to seem better than reveal the truth.
All right, dear brother. Listen to me while the Furies are allowing you to be lucid.
What news do you have for me? If it's good news, that'll be some relief. If it's bad news, I don't want to hear it.
Menelaus, our uncle, has just docked his ship at the Nauplian harbor.
What are you saying? Is he coming back to pay back our father and save us from our troubles?
Yes, it's true. He's come back with Helen, whom he took from the walls of Troy.
Or if he'd come by himself, he'd be far more welcome. Now that he has Helen with him, he's in for some trouble.
Indeed, Tyndareus created a throng of shameful daughters for all of Greece.
Now, you need to be different than those women in our family. Forge your own path. I know you can talk the talk and walk the walk.
My dear brother, what happened? Your eyes are crazy and you looked deranged when you were fine just a second ago.
Mommy, I beg you! Don't stir up those blood-stained serpentine women against me! Oh, here they come, lunging at me!
Dear brother, lie still. It's all in your imagination. Your eyes deceive you.
Oh, Apollo, those hound-eyed, gorgon-eyed priestesses of hell, those terrifying goddesses are going to kill me!
Please stop. Don't worry. I'll hold you and I won't let you go.
Let me go! You're one of my furies, aren't you, trying to grab me by the waist and throw me to Tartarus?
Fuck me. Who can help us now that the gods have turned their backs on us?
Give me my horn-tipped bow, a gift from Apollo for warding off these goddesses when they try to frighten me with their raving madness. Oh, my mortal hand will harm one of these goddesses if she doesn't get out of my sight immediately. Don't you hear me? Can't you see the feathered arrows flying from my bow? Ah, why are you still here? Glide to the sky with your wings. Now that the oracles of Apollo were to blame. Ah! What excited me? Why am I gasping for air? Why did I spring up from my couch? Now I see calm from the waves. Sis, why are you crying? Why do you hide your head in your robe? Oh, I'm sorry. I've made you share my suffering, burdened you with my illness. You should no longer take part in my troubles. While you agreed to the murder, it was I who committed the crime. I blame Apollo who cursed me with this terrible deed, encouraging me with his words, but not in the act itself. If I'd asked Dad if he wanted me to kill our mom, he would have beseeched my beard never to plunge that sword to the neck of our mother. Oh, it's not like it would have brought him back. I'm so unhappy, like a sponge for evil. Oh, but sis, show your face, even if you are miserable. Whenever you see me losing my mind, it's up to you to erase my nightmares. And whenever you're sad, it's up to me to provide you some comfort. Comforting thoughts are good for loved ones. Well, but go inside and let your sleepless eyes rest for a while. Eat some food, take a bath. If you abandon me or fall sick while caring for me, I'll certainly die. As you can see, you're the only person I have left. There is no one else.
Exactly. There isn't. If you die, what will a woman like me do? How can I go on without a brother, a father, a friend? But it's up to you. I will do as you say. Here, try to rest and ignore the nightmares and terrors that haunt you. Even if you're not actually sick, just thinking that you might be sick can be an exhausting experience.
Swift goddesses, winged goddesses, raging goddesses, destined to rage in tears and sobs like buckets without rights, shadowy humanities darting around in the open sky, dealing your justice for blood, for murder. Please, free him! Please, free him! The son of Agamemnon from his savage, raging madness! Oh, the troubles! Such troubles poor boy shaken to destruction by the tripod's oracle, which Apollo shrieked forth on holy ground, where the caves are the navel of the earth. What a pity! What a deadly contest! How should you give along, you miserable boy? How tears are met with even more tears. How a vengeful spirit brings blood on your mother's house. Great joy is never safe among men. I cry, but the divine power shakes it like the sail of a swift ship plunged into horrors, like the destructive, raging waves of the sea. What other family need may be revered than this one from a divine marriage, the house of Tantalus.
The king is coming! Lord Menelaus! Oh, well, it must be him. Look at that outfit. Cheers to the man who sailed 1,000 ship fleet to the land of Asia. You, sir, lay in bed with good fortune. You achieved everything you prayed for with the help of the gods.
My home, it is so wonderful to see you again after my journey to Troy. It's also sad to see you. I have never seen this house surrounded by such terrible turmoil. I learned about the death of my brother Agamemnon from Glaucus, prophet of Nereus, diviner to sailors and the gods' truth teller. He said, Menelaus, your brother Agamemnon lies dead, murdered in his bath, his very last one given to him by his mother. Me and my sailors, we sobbed at his revelation. When I arrived in Nauplia and sent my wife ahead of me, I expected to be greeted with a hug by Orestes and his mother. I thought they were doing well. Until one of my sailors told me about the unholy murder of King Darius. Now tell me, young ladies, where is the son of Agamemnon, one who committed such terrible acts? There's no way I can recognize him. He was only a baby in the arms of Clytemnestra when I sailed from Troy's mountains.
Menelaus, I am the Orestes you're looking for. I'm willing to tell you about my troubles, but first, I come to your knees at the suppliant, offering a prayer with no olive branch to offer. Save me! You've arrived at the peak of my troubles.
Good gods, the living corpse is this.
You're right. I'm not alive in this terrible condition, though I remain on earth.
You poor creature, your filthy hair makes you look like a beast.
It's not my appearance, but my crimes that torture me.
Your restless eyes look terrible.
The sea is gone. What remains is my name.
You look like a phantom, not what I expected.
Well, here I am. The murderer of my nasty mother.
I've heard, save it, your evil should rarely be spoken.
I will be brief. The God that afflicts me is rich in evils.
What's wrong? What sickness is killing you?
My guilt. I know that I did a terrible thing.
What are you saying? Speak clearly.
Despair destroys me most of all.
She's a nasty goddess. There it cares.
And madness. Vengeance for my mother's murder.
When did the madness start? What day?
The day I filled in my mother's grave.
When you were in the house or sitting by the pile?
At night, when I went to collect her bones.
Was there anyone there to help you?
Pylades. He assisted me in the murder of my mother.
What kind of phantoms drive you to this?
Well, usually I see 3 women. Black as night.
I know who you're talking about, but I don't dare say their names.
They are revered. You're smart not to say their names.
Are these the same ones that drive you into a frenzy over this familiar murder?
How terrible it is to flee their pursuit.
It's not strange to suffer for what you've done.
Well, found a way out of this torment.
Don't say death. That wouldn't be a wise choice.
Phoebus will help. He's the one who commanded me to kill my mother.
That was a blatant disregard for what's fair and just.
We're slaves to the gods, whoever those gods are.
Is Apollo been of any help in your troubles?
He will. This is just his nature.
How long has it been since your mother gave the last breath?
This is the 6th day. Her funeral pyre is still warm.
Wow, the goddess isn't wasting any time with her soon.
I may not be wise, but I am a true friend to those I love.
Has your father been of any help in avenging him?
Not yet, but delay is the same as inaction.
What does the city think of what you've done?
They hate me. Nobody will speak to me.
You've been able to wash your hands of the cursed blood, as is custom?
No, I'm turned away at any house I go to.
What citizens are driving you from this city?
Ajax, the one who misplaces his hatred for Troy on my father.
I understand. He blames you for the death of Palamedes.
That wasn't my fault. I'm already destroyed by those 3 things.
Who else? I imagine some of the friends of Aegisthus?
Yeah, those guys hate me. And now the whole city is listening to them.
Won't the city let you have the scepter of Agamemnon?
How? They don't even want me alive.
What are they doing? Explain it clearly.
There's going to be a vote about us today
To exile you, or whether you should live or die?
to execute us by stoning.
Why not cross the border and flee?
Because we're surrounded by armed guards.
By personal armies or Argive troops?
In essence, all of the citizens want me dead.
You poor kid, you've reached the ultimate fate.
My only hope of refuge is in you. But now that you've come, share some of your prosperity with your unfortunate loved ones. Don't keep it all to yourself. Share in our troubles. It's only right for you to pay back our father's favors. Those who abandon their loved ones in times of need are only friends in name, not in deed.
Here comes Sindarius, all the way from Sparta, to mourn his daughter, dressed in dark clothing, with his bright hair.
Menelaus and screwed. And Darius is the only person I'm too ashamed to look at because of what I've done. He raised me when I was a child, provided for me, held me in his arms, the son of Agamemnon, as delighted at the Dioscuri. Now my terrible heart and soul have paid him back with bad actions. Is there some way I could cover my eyes or veil myself in the clouds to escape the glare of this old man?
Where is my daughter's husband, Menelaus? While I was pouring libations at the tomb of Clytemnestra, I heard that he has returned with his wife in one piece after all these years. Lead me to him so I can greet him. I haven't seen him in so long.
Old man, Zeus's competitor for a bride.
Hello, son-in-law. Oh, Menelaus, it is so terrible not to know the future. That mother killer flashes his snake eyes in front of the house, my abominable grandson. Menelaus, were you talking to that lawless creature?
Why wouldn't I? He's the son of my brother.
You think this is his son? This creature? Here?
Yes, it's him, and if he's in trouble, he deserves some help.
You become one of those barbarians after being around them for so long.
It's the Greek way to honor one's family.
So is obeying the laws.
According to the wise, anything compulsory is slavery.
Keep that to yourself, I won't have it.
Yes, because you are old. Old age is not always fun.
What does some argument over foolishness have to do with him? What is right and wrong is clear to all. Who is dumber than this kid? Did he even consider whether it was right or in line with Greek common law? When Agamemnon was killed, struck on his head by my daughter, a foul deed that I will never defend, the boy should have brought a charge against her to exact a holy punishment for the murder and thrown his mother out of the house. Then he would have found some moderation rather than trouble and done something lawful and pious. Instead, he has reached the same fate as his mother. While he was just about in thinking that she was a terrible woman, he has become even more terrible by killing her. I will ask you this, Menelaus. If a man's wife kills him, and his son kills his mother, and the son of the avenger atones murder with murder, how long can this chain of crimes go on? Our ancestors settled this correctly, because they did not allow anyone to meet or look upon the murderer. Instead, they purified him by exiling him, not by killing him in return. There would be a liability for murder in the man who must touch the miasma with his hands. I do hate unholy women, including my daughter who killed her husband, and I won't ever commend your wife, Helen, or ever speak to her again. I do not envy you for having to travel to the land of Troy. What a terrible woman. I will defend rule of law as much as possible and try to put an end to savage bloodshed, which always ruins countries and cities. And you, terrible boy, did you have any feeling when your mother bared her breast and begged you for her life? Even though I did not see the evil acts committed there, my old eyes still fill with tears. There is one thing that complements my statement, that you are hated by the gods and pay the penalty with madness and fear over what you did to your mother. What need is there for more evidence for what I can see in front of me with my very own eyes? Menelaus, heed the warning and do not disregard the gods in your desire to help this boy. Either you allow him to be stoned by the citizens, or else you won't be allowed to set foot in Sparta again. My daughter is dead, and that is justifiable, but it should not have been this boy who killed her. I have largely been a fortunate man throughout my life, with the exception of my daughters. When it comes to daughters, I have been cursed.
Yes, a man who has good children is not fortunate with daughters.
Old man, I fear to speak to you, especially about something that hurts you to your core. I am unholy for killing my mother, but also holy because I avenged my father. Now, don't let your old age scare me from speaking, and don't try to stop me. I must go on even though I respect my elders. What was I supposed to do? Set one thing against another? My father begot me, and though your daughter birthed me, she was only the field for my father to see. Without a father, there can be no children. So I decided that I had to stand by the man who begot my family, and not by the woman who raised me. But your daughter, who I am ashamed to call my mother, came to another man's bed, performed a private and imprudent marriage. Though I speak badly of myself when I speak ill of that woman, still I will go on. It was Aegisthus who was her secret lover, and I killed him and sacrificed my mother, and though what I did is unspeakable, I did avenge my father. Now, in regard to the reasons you think I should be stoned, listen to how I am helpful to all of Hellas. If women become so daring that they kill their husbands, and then by evoking pity with their breasts can find forgiveness from their children, they wouldn't have second thoughts about killing their husbands for whatever reasons they want. So, by committing such a heinous act as you claim, I've put an end to this custom. I hated my mother, and I rightly killed her. She deceived her husband, the commander of all Greek forces, from inside his own home and defiled his bed. And then, when she was discovered, to avoid being punished, she punished him by killing him. By the gods! While it is not good to invoke them to defend murder, if I had tacitly accepted her actions, what would my murdered father have done to me? Would he not out of hatred have set the furies on me? Or are these goddesses my mother's allies, and won't side with him because he was more in the wrong? No, you, yes, you, old man, have destroyed me by having such a terrible daughter. Because of that daring woman, I have become an orphan and a mother killer. You didn't see Telemachus having to kill the wife of Odysseus, and that's because she didn't marry husband after husband, but instead kept her marriage and her home untainted. Further, you know Apollo, the one who sits at the navel of the earth and dispenses clear oracles to mortal men, the one whom we obey no matter what he says. Well, it was in obedience to him that I killed my mother. Find that sinful man and kill him. He's the guilty one, not me. What should I have done? Is that God not competent enough to free me from this miasma? Where should I flee if the one who commanded me does not rescue me from death? Don't say that this was done badly and it's unfortunate for the one who did it. Men who make wise decisions in marriage lead happy ones. Those who do not, punished inside and outside the house.
Women often get in the way of men with unfortunate results.
Since you dare to say whatever you want and talk back to me in such a hurtful way, you only coax to ensure your demise. I will consider this a nice addition to my journey here to pay my respects at my daughter's grave. I will go to the selected group of our judges to the city itself, willing or unwilling, to convince them to punish you and your sister by stoning. She deserves to die more than you, because she was the one who turned against that woman you killed. She often told you stories and dreams about Agamemnon, and it just this fed to drive you to hate. Gods of hell, there is so much hate here that would only be calmed by burning the house down with a fire to conquer Hephaestus. Menelaus, I am speaking to you. I will do this, and if you have any respect for my hatred or care for me, you will not protect this child from his divinely fated death. Allow him to be stoned to death by the citizens, or else you won't be allowed to step foot in Sparta. Now you know all of this, so don't choose these impious creatures and neglect your reverend friends. Servant, take me away from this house!
Go! So we can hear the rest of my speech and be free of your senile influence. Menelaus, why do you pace back and forth in deep thought? Why are you on defense?
Leave me alone. I'm trying to figure out what to do.
Don't decide this yet. Let me speak first, and then you can make up your mind.
All right, go ahead. Remember, sometimes silence is better than speaking, and vice versa.
I'll speak. Sometimes a drawn-out speech is better and more intelligible to listen to than a short one. I don't want anything from you, Menelaus. Just pay back for what my father did for you. And I'm not speaking about possessions, I'm talking about my life. It's far more important than anything else. I have done wrong, and should pay back to you some small penalty for that heinous act. Even my father did wrong when he gathered all of Greece and sailed to Troy. Not that he did wrong by himself, rather he was trying to fix your wife's mistake. This is the one thing you should make up for. He really did give his life for you, just as loved ones should. Took up the shield by your side just so you could get your wife back. So pay back to me now what he did for you then. You only have to stand up for us for one day, instead of paying back the full 10 years you owe him. And as for what happened at Aulis, the sacrifice of my sister, don't worry about it. There's no need to kill Hermione. In this present situation, it's only right that you have some small advantage over me, and I've come to terms with that. Oh, but do this for my father, and save me and my sister. She's been unmarried for far too long. If I die, there will be no heir left to my father's house. And I know you'll say it's impossible, but that's just it. Loved ones should help loved ones when they're in trouble, no matter what. When you're lucky, what need is there for friends? The gods' help is enough when he's willing to assist. And I mean, all of Greece believes that you love your wife. And I don't say that just to flatter you. For her sake, I beg you. I am so unhappy because of my troubles. What's the point? Well, I must suffer and make this appeal on behalf of my whole family. So, uncle, brother of my father, imagine that my dead father is listening. That his spirit is floating over you right now, telling you the same things I've said. The same things. Even the tears, the sobs, the troubles. Well, I've said what I got to. I beg for my safety just as all men do. Only I don't do this just for myself.
Yes, and even though I am a woman, I beg you to help those who need it because you are able to.
Orestes, I respect you and want to share your troubles. I also should share the troubles of their loved ones, either by death or by murdering your enemies, God's law. I do wish the gods made it possible, but I have been drained of allies and soldiers after my long and tiresome journey, and only have a small group of friends remaining. There's no way we could defeat Plays and Argos and God. But if you were overcome one with a persuasive speech, you might have some hope. How can you overcome a huge obstacle with only a little assistance? Only to more trouble it's thoughtless to even consider. When the people turn to anger, they're as hard to contain as a raging fire. But if you wait quietly, cautiously, and accept some of their anger, you might calm them down. But their gusts of anger soften, you might be able to get what you want to do. People have pity, but also a great temper, which is an invaluable quality when you pay it some attention. I will go to Tyndareus in the city for you and see if I can get them to go easy. Just as a ship dips down if its sail is too tight, straightens again if it's slackens its sail. The god and the citizens hate excessive speed. I need to save you. I wouldn't say otherwise, but by cleverness, not by fighting against somebody. As you know, I cannot save you by force. It's hard to solve your problem with only a little hope. I never thought I would have to soften the land of the Argives, but now it's a necessity, even though I have enslaved fortune.
The only thing you're good for is waging war over some woman. You're the worst avenger of your loved ones. You're really going to turn your back on me and flee, shrugging off all that Agamemnon did for you? Oh, Father, after all you suffered, you many things. Damn it! I've been betrayed. There's no hope left, and there's nowhere for me to turn. That guy was my last chance for safety. Oh, I see my pilot is. The best friend a guy could ask for, hurrying back from focus. A loyal friend is better than calm waters when you're in a sea of trouble.
Orestes, I came as quick as I could, sprinting through the city to tell you what I've seen and heard. A group of citizens is coming to kill you and your sister. What's going on? Are you okay? How are you, best friend? You're closer to me than all of my other friends, and even my family.
There's no easy way to say it. I'm fucked.
That's what friends are supposed to do.
Menelaus is the worst to me and my sister.
Like wife, like husband.
He didn't do anything. It would have been better if he hadn't shown up at all.
Did he actually come here?
He came. It took him long enough. And then after he got here, he showed how terrible he could be to his family.
Did he bring that terrible wife of his?
Oh, he didn't bring her. She brought him.
Where is that destroyer of the Achaeans?
In my house, if I can still call it that.
What did you say to your uncle?
Not to stand by and watch me and my sister be killed by the citizens.
By the gods, how did he respond? I'd like to know.
He hesitated, just like a bad friend.
Well, what was his excuse?
Or someone showed up. The father of the best daughters.
You mean Tyndareus? Was he angry with you over his daughter?
Exactly. And then Menelaus sided with his in-law over his own brother.
What, he didn't have the balls to join you in your troubles when he was here?
He wasn't born a warrior. He's only tough around women.
You're in deep shit, and it's likely you're going to die.
Now it's up for the citizens to cast their votes for capital punishment.
And what will that decide?
In short, to live or die.
You and your sister need to flee the palace now.
We can't. Don't you see? We're surrounded by guards.
I did see that the streets of the city were guarded by men.
We're besieged, like a city by enemies.
Well, ask me how I'm doing, because I'm fucked too.
This is only going to happen, my troubles.
My father's trophy has kicked me out of his house.
What? Did he do this by himself? Or were you charged by the city?
It was him. He said I was stained for helping you kill your mother.
I'm sorry. It seems that my troubles have bled into your life.
Don't worry, I'm nothing like Menelaus. You're thick and thin.
Aren't you worried that Argos could call for your death along with mine?
I can't be punished by them. I'm from Focus.
The masses can be terrible when led by terrible men.
Yes, but when good men lead them, they can be good as well.
All right, then. Let's make a plan.
About what?
What if I go to the citizens and
That
say
you were justified.
that I was avenging my father?
I don't think they'll have a problem seizing you anyway.
Well, should I just curl up and die?
Don't be a coward.
Well, how should I act?
If you stay, do you have any insurance?
Not that I can think of.
Will you be safe if you could escape?
There's a chance.
Well, then that's better than staying.
Okay, then I'll go.
It's a more honorable way to die.
Yeah, at least I'll be less of a coward.
Less than if you stay.
Plus, what I did was just.
Pray they think that.
Someone might take pity on me.
You are still from royalty.
Or if they hate that my father was murdered,
That's obvious.
then I must go. Because it's cowardly to die without glory.
Exactly.
Should I tell my sister?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, she might cry.
It would be a bad omen.
Silence is better.
Plus, it'll give you some more time.
Oh, but there's just one problem.
What is it? Tell me.
What if those goddesses stop me with their mad stuff?
Well, I'll take care of you.
Oh, it's no fun taking care of a sick man.
I don't mind, especially if it's for you.
Oh, be careful that you don't become afflicted with madness as well.
Let it go.
You won't hesitate?
Hesitation is the worst crime committed by friends.
All right, then. Lead the way.
Happy to help.
Take me to my father's grave.
What for?
Beg him to spare me.
It's a good idea.
I hope we don't even see my mother's grave.
She is a true enemy. But come, before the vote of the citizens catches up with you, throw your sickly arms around me. I'll carry you through the city. I won't even acknowledge the crowd, but can keep moving. How else can I show my friendship if not by helping you in your time of need?
As they say, friends are the family you choose. A friend who sticks with you through thick and thin can be better than family.
Great blessing and excellence boasted through all of Greece, and to land on streams of Samois good fortune turned away. From the Atreid not long ago, there was a fight for a golden ram between the sons of Tantalus. It led to the saddest feast and sacrifice of noble children. From this murder, the Atreid blood for blood. What seemed good was not, with most cunning hand, to slaughter a mother, to show that blood-stained sword to the light of day. It is unholy, unstable, the madness of thoughtless man. In the name of the crime, in her fear of death, the terrible daughter of Tyndareus screamed, "Child, do not dare the unholy murder of your own mother, even to avenge your father. You will be made with eternal shame." What illness? What fearful deed? What pitiable act is worse on earth than to stain your own hands with the blood of your mother? What a deed he has done, filled with such frenzy, the prey of the furies, her murder stinging in his eyes. Poor thing, child of Agamemnon, even when your mother bared her breast in her golden robe to avenge your father's death, still you committed murder.
Women, where is my poor Orestes? Did his madness cause him to leave the house?
Oh, not at all. He went to the Argive people to plead his case, whether he is to die or to live.
What? Why did he do that? Who told him to?
Pylades, but I'm sure the messenger can tell us what happened.
Poor dear, sad daughter of Commander Agamemnon. Lady Electra, I bring some terrible news.
Oh no, we're screwed. I can tell by your voice that we're in serious trouble.
The Pelasgians have voted to execute you and your brother today.
No! It's just as I expected. I feared this day for so long, crying the days away. Tell me, what happened at the trial? Which of the Argives convinced them to sentence us to death? Dear friend, am I to die by the sword or the stone? I share my brother's misfortunes.
I was coming from the country and entered the gates to learn the verdict about you and Orestes. As you know, I always liked your father when he was alive. As poor as I was, your house took care of me out of friendship. I saw the crowd walking and taking their seats at the citadel where Danaus assembled the first meeting to make amends with Aegyptus. When I saw the crowd, I asked one of the citizens, "What's going on? Are there messages from an enemy that have excited the city of Danaus?" Then he said, "Don't you see Orestes coming for his trial?" Then I was shocked and saddened to see something that I wish I hadn't. Pylades and Orestes approaching together. Orestes with his head bent and weakened with illness, and Pylades sharing the trouble of his friend and caring for him just as a brother would. When the crowd had assembled, a herald stood up and said, "Who wants to speak on whether Orestes should be executed for the murder of his mother?" With that said, Talthybius rose, the one who assisted your father in destroying the Phrygians. He spoke out of both sides of his mouth, under the influence of powerful men, as usual. And while he praised your father, he did not commend your brother, but instead cast bad sentiments in a good light. He claimed that it would establish laws that would not be good for parents, all the while winking at the friends of Aegisthus. That's exactly how men of that profession function. Heralds always stumbling to good fortune, or making friends with those who hold sway or have positions in government. After him, Lord Diomedes gave a speech in which he urged them not to execute you and your brother, but instead to avoid an unholy act and banish you. While some shouted in agreement, others did not approve. Then some other man stood up, a babbler, a man strong in arrogance, a non-Argive Argive. He was compelling, relying on bluster and ignorance, persuasive enough to involve them in mischief sooner or later. Whenever a man with a golden tongue and an evil mind persuades the masses, it is a huge problem for the city. while those who offer solid advice to the city are not presently useful, they come to show their worth at a later date. This is how you should view a military leader, too. The position entails many of the same skills as an orator or politician. Anyway, this guy was in favor of stoning you and Orestes, but in fact it was Tyndareus who was goading him to say those things as he called for you and Orestes' execution. Then another man rose and spoke in opposition to him. This man was not handsome, but he was brave. He almost never engages with crowds or goes to the agora. He was a farmer, one of those men who alone preserve the land, but he was smart and eager to engage in the debate. He was a man of good character and lives a modest life. He said that they should garland Orestes, son of Agamemnon, for avenging his father by killing his evil and godless mother. He said that a woman like her would dissuade men from taking up arms and leaving their houses to go to war, because those who remain behind might destroy families or seduce other men's wives. To the best kind of men there, he seemed to have made a great argument. No one else spoke after him, except your brother, who approached and said, "Citizens of the land of Inachus, former Pelasgians and later Danaids, I have done a service no less than what my father did for you by murdering my mother. If women are allowed to kill their husbands, it would be better to die than become enslaved by them. This is exactly the opposite of what you should want. As has been mentioned, the woman who betrayed my father's bed is dead. Now, if you sentence me to death, then you will weaken the law. So you might as well kill yourselves, because the one thing these women don't lack is the courage to commit such crimes." But he did not persuade the assembly, while he appeared to speak well. Instead, that evil man who encourages Orestes convinced them not to stone him to death, but instead to allow you and him to die by suicide today. Pylades, in tears, is bringing him back from the assembly. He's accompanied by his other friends who are distraught and sobbing. He is coming, a sad sight, an unfortunate man. But you must ready the sword or prepare a noose, because you must die. Your nobility didn't matter one bit, nor does Apollo, who sits on his tripod. In fact, he led to your destruction.
Oh, you helpless girl. Oh, how stunned you must be, covering your face and falling to your knees, about to rush through lament and cries.
Scratching my cheeks with my nails and tearing my hair. Let the land of the Cyclops mourn the sufferings of this house. With the pity that comes to those about to die, just as they did to the military leaders of Greece. The whole family of heroes and the glory that once lived in our house, it's gone, it's gone, it's lost. The envy of the gods seized him, and the murderous foam of the people seizes eyes. Oh, short-lived man, with your lives full of weeping and pain, don't you see how your hopes are surpassed by fate? Every man will suffer in his own time. Mortals live uncertain for their whole lives. Sweet heaven and the
helping him, his weak body as he walks by his side.
Poor brother, how sad I am to see you now that we're so near your grave and on your funeral. Oh no! Now that I'm seeing you for the last time, I can't contain myself.
Oh, shut up. Stop your girly tears. Just accept what's to come. I know it's pitiful, but we have to accept our present fate.
How can I shut up when we are the victims, never to see the light of day again?
Oh, it's enough that I'm already the unhappy victim of the Argives. I don't need you reminding me of all our other troubles.
My poor Orestes, you should be living it up in your youth, not condemned to death.
The gods, Electra, don't emasculate me by making me cry about this.
We're about to die. How can I not cry about it? The loss of precious life is a curse to mortals.
The fateful day has come. And we must either fit the nooses to our necks or sharpen the swords.
Orestes, you're going to have to be the one to kill me, lest one of the Argives defile the honor of Agamemnon.
I already have our mother's blood on my hands. I'm not killing you too. You're going to have to figure out how to kill yourself.
Fine. Then I will follow you and use the sword. But first, let me give you a hug.
Go ahead. It won't matter. Hugs don't mean anything to those about to die.
My poor baby brother. Your name and your soul are most loved by your sister.
They make me cry. Fine, I'll give you a hug. I'd be ashamed at a moment like this. Sister, you give the best hugs. Send the spouses or children. All we have left is this hug.
Oh, how I wish we could die by the same sword and share the same coffin.
That would be the best gift. But don't you see, we don't have friends to make sure that we're buried side by side.
Didn't that bastard Menelaus even bother to show up at the trial and try to convince them not to kill you?
He didn't even show up. All he cares about is taking the scepter. He doesn't care about helping his loved ones. But let's think of an honorable death. One worthy of our father Agamemnon. I think that the city should have to look at my noble spirit as I drive the sword through myself. Sister, you must be bold and do the same. Pylades, we need you to be the director of our funeral. Once we're dead, lay out our bodies nicely. Take us to the grave of our father and bury us there. Now, goodbye. As you see, it's time for me to carry out my death.
Stop. First, there's something you forgot. Whether I would want to live when you are dead.
But why should you die with me?
Do you even have to ask? What is life without your friendship?
You're not the one who killed your own mother. That was me.
But I helped. I should suffer the same punishment.
No. Don't die with me. Go home and make up with your father. You still have a city, a father's home, and wealth to go back to. I have none of that. And though it's no longer possible for you to marry my unlucky sister, though I promised her to you for all of your friendship, even if I didn't have children, it's no longer possible for us to be connected by family. So, goodbye, best friend. Dear brother, be happy. Well, I no longer can be happy. You still can. The dead have no joy.
You don't get what I'm saying. May the earth and sky never accept my body if I leave to free myself. We murdered together. I would never deny that. And we planned the whole thing together. And now you're paying the price. I already consider her my wife, so I must die with you and her. When I go to Delphi, how can I explain that I used to be your friend when everything was going well, and stop being your friend when everything went to shit? That must never happen. This is my problem too. And if we're going to die together, let's make a plan to ensure that Menelaus suffers as well.
Best friend, I wish I could see that before I die.
So then listen to me, and hold back your sword.
I can wait, if it means getting vengeance on my enemies.
Shh, quiet down. I don't trust these women.
No, these women are our friends.
Let's go right for his heart. Let's kill Helen.
Oh, I'm down if you think you can pull it off. But how would we do it?
With our swords. She's hiding in your house, isn't she?
Yeah, I'm putting her name on everything.
Not for much longer. She'll be Hades' bride soon.
But how? She has barbarian guards protecting her.
I'm not afraid of a bunch of Phrygians.
Yes. They're only good at guarding perfume and mirrors.
So did she bring back some Trojan luxuries with her?
So much that all of Hellas isn't a large enough house for her crap.
She doesn't care at all. A race of slaves is nothing to someone who is free.
Oh, I'm willing to die twice if we can pull this off.
Same here, especially if it's you I'm avenging.
Alright, so what's the plan? Alright,
We'll go inside and pretend we're preparing for our guests.
Okay, I get that part.
Then we'll go to her, pretend to cry about our problems.
She'll cry crocodile. In fact, she's overjoyed.
And we'll be doing the same thing, my brother.
All right, so what do we do next?
We'll have our swords hidden inside our cloaks.
Won't we have to kill her attendants first?
No, we'll have them locked up in separate rooms at the house.
If any of them makes a peep, we kill them.
That way, we can save our energy for the grand finale.
I understand what you mean. Then we can murder that Kelly.
Yes, now listen to my brilliant plan. If we were to kill a better woman, we'd become notorious murderers. But she'll just be getting what's owed to her on behalf of all of Greece. Those whose fathers have been killed, those whose sons have died, the women she made widows. They will rejoice and light fires in the temples of the gods and praise our names. And you'll no longer be known as a mother killer, but lead a wonderful life, renowned as the vanquisher of that murderous Helen. And it's never proper that Menelaus should prosper when you, your sister, and your father have died. Your mother too, but let's not mention that. She should never get the house, since it's due to Agamemnon who even got his wife in the first place. I would rather die than leave that woman untouched by our swords. And if by some chance we fail to kill Helen, we'll torch the place and go up with it. Either way, we will achieve something. Either an honorable death or an honorable escape.
There is nothing better than a trusty friend, neither wealth nor tyranny. Even a mob of citizens can't stand up to a trustworthy friend. You were the one who devised the plan against Aegisthus and stayed by me through every danger. And again you come up with a way for me to get vengeance on my enemies, and you haven't left my side. But I'll stop flattering you. It's getting a bit much. If I'm going to die anyways, why not try and hurt my enemies before I go, so that I can get them back for betraying me and make those who did me wrong cry? Yes, I am the son of Agamemnon, deemed worthy to rule all Hellas. No tyrant, but godlike in power. I will not disgrace him with the slave's death. But I will go on my own terms and ensure that Menelaus pays the price. Oh, if we can achieve even one of these objectives, then we will have succeeded. And if it's possible for some unexpected savior to come and change us from slain to slayer, I pray this will be the outcome. Well, this would be a dream come true, that's just a bunch of words.
Wait, brother. I think I have a plan that could save the three of us.
What? Surely you don't mean divine help. No, you're too smart to believe that.
No. Listen up, and you pay attention too.
All right, tell us. The idea of good news is thrilling.
You know Helen's daughter, don't you? Of course you do.
Yeah, Hermione. Her mother was the one who raised her.
She left to go to Clytemnestra's tomb.
For what reason? And so what?
To pour libations on behalf of her mother.
Okay, and how is this going to be our saving grace?
We can kidnap her on her way back and hold her hostage.
Okay, but how does that help the three of us?
If, after you kill Helen, Menelaus tries to kill you, me, or even Pylades, because the three of us are thick as thieves, you can threaten to kill Hermione. You'll have to hold your sword to her throat when you say that. If, after seeing Helen's dead, Menelaus tries to save you, you can return her to the arms of her father. But if he does not try to save you from the angry mom and leaves you to die, then you can just slit her throat. Well, he may look all tough at first. He'll calm down. He's a coward at heart. This is the plan I've come up with to save the three of us.
Your womanly body conceals manly courage. You really do deserve to continue living. Pylades, you'll be mighty sad if you lose such a woman. Mighty happy if you get to marry her.
I hope so. I hope she comes to focus and receives the wedding of her dreams.
All right. So, when does Hermione come back to the house? Your plan is brilliant, so long as we can snare Menelaus' cover.
She's been gone for a while. Should be any minute.
Perfect. Electra, go stand beside the house and keep an eye out for the young girl. And you need to alert us if anyone, either an ally or our uncle, comes inside and interrupts us before we finish the murder. You can either pound on the wall or call to us inside. Pylades, my brother in arms, let's go inside and prepare our swords for one final battle. Your dad, your son Orestes calls to you from inside your dark and gloomy house to come and assist us in our time of need. I suffer unfairly for you and have been betrayed by your brother. Be my partner now in carrying out the murder of his wife.
Daddy, if you can hear the cries of your children from inside the earth, please come.
Companion of my father, Agamemnon, hear my prayer and protect your children.
I killed my mother.
I provided the swords.
And I gave them the courage to follow through.
To avenge you, father.
I did not betray you.
Obey their sacrifices and help your children.
With tears in my eyes, I poured this libation.
And I, with my laments.
Enough. Let's get down to business. If prayers can travel through the ground, I'm sure he heard you. Father Zeus in holy justice, grant Grant success to me, to him, and to her. There is one problem for 3 friends, and one penalty. Either to live or to die.
Now, Mycenaean women of prominent Argos.
Yes, fair lady. Well, this honorable title is still worthy of you.
Some of you station yourselves on this upper path, and some on the other road.
Yes. You over here, and you over there, and back to you, and to the house.
Dart your eyes back and forth.
Why do you want us to do this?
I'm afraid that any of you stationed too close to the house during the murder might get implicated.
It's gonna be quick. We'll take this road to the east.
And we'll watch the road to the west.
Keep watch. Peer through the locks of your hair.
Who's this on the road? A countryman?
Oh no, friends, we're screwed. He's going to reveal our ambush to our enemies.
Calm down, it's not as you think. The road is clear, my dear.
What about on this side? Please let it be good news.
All clear on this side.
Same here, not a peep either.
All right, I'll listen by the door.
Well, what are you guys waiting for inside the house? Commit the crime. It's clear out here.
They can't hear us. Oh, I'm so stressed. Have they scarred her beauty with their swords yet? Some armed Argive is going to come to rescue her any minute. You, this is not a staring contest. Look all around.
I'm looking everywhere on the road.
Bless you, Argos, help! I'm being murdered!
Did you hear that? The men have taken up their swords. I think that was Helen.
Oh, strength of Zeus, come now and help my loved ones!
Menelaus, I'm dying! Why aren't you helping me? I know you're nearby.
Yes, murder her, kill her, destroy her! Take your double-edged twin swords and stab that woman who betrayed her father, left her husband, and caused the death of so many Greeks on the banks of the river where tears fell like iron darts around the streams of the Scamander.
Shh. I think I hear footsteps on the road to the house.
It's Hermione. Coming, friends, during the murder. Let's stop shouting. Let's let her fall right into our trap. The prey will be good if it gets caught. Now you, get back to your station. Get those smirks off your faces so she won't know what's going on. I'll sit here and make myself look all depressed so she'll have no idea what's just happened.
I'm back. I was shooting my cat. Although I was a bit frightened on my way back. I thought I heard scream.
Well, you shouldn't be surprised. Our present situation gives us plenty of reason to scream.
Don't say that. What news do you have?
Orestes and I have been sentenced to death.
No, not my own cousins.
Yes, it's true. There will be a capital punishment.
The house is a good reason to cry out.
That inside, it was my poor Orestes crying out to your mother to spare him. And you, why don't you go throw yourself at the feet of your prosperous mother? Well, and join her in supplication, that Menelaus might not let us die. You remember how my mother raised you as her very own? Well, join us, help us in this time. Come here, let me guide you through this difficult time. You're our only hope for safety.
I'll rush into the house. As far as I'm concerned, you and your brother will be saved.
Now, friends, grab her! Catch our prey!
Oh no, what is this?
Here for our safety, not yours.
Grab her! Hold your swords to her throat! Now, all we have to do is wait for Menelaus to show up and figure out that he's dealing with real men, not some Phrygian cowards. We'll show him what cowards deserve.
Oh friends, oh friends, raise a cheer and shout for the house. When murder went done, woman's sight, their archive to bring hell to the palace until we see Helen's corpse bloody in the house. I know this heart is a tragedy, but the rest is uncertain. At last, Helen comes to just retribution from the gods over that bastard Paris of Ida, who drew the gates of joy. She filled Hellas with tears.
But silence now, the bolts of the palace doors are opening. Oh, here comes a Phrygian, he can tell us what happened inside.
I have escaped death by Argive's sword. I leapt with Asian slippers on cedar beams that cover the Portendor triglyphs. Oh, sweet earth, a barbarian flight. You, foreign woman, tell me, where can I flee? Through the sky, over the sea, with which the bullheaded ocean rolls around embracing the earth?
Tell us what happened, Helen slave, you creature from Ida.
Troy, city of Ida, I mourn for your destruction, and for Ida's mountain and bountiful land, destroyed by Leda's swan-feathered child, hellish Helen. Oh, a curse to Apollo's polished pillar. I cry for Dardania, sobbing for the horsemanship of Ganymede, Zeus's lover.
All right, but can you tell us what happened? I honestly have no idea what's happening.
Linus, this is what we barbarians say when Asian voice and royal blood is spilt by iron swords. I'll tell you everything, one piece at a time. They came into the house like two lions of Hellas. One was called the commander's son, the other the son of Strophius, a sneaky schemer, like Odysseus, silent in his treachery, true to his friends, courageous in battle, clever in war, and deadly like a snake. Curse the bastard for his silent scheming! Then they entered into the throne room of Paris's wife, faces filled with tears, as they sat on one side of the throne with such humility, but also with swords. They threw their arms around her knees in supplication. This startled the Phrygians as they leapt up, frantically, I tell you, and they began to cry to one another in fear of treachery. Some thought it was a bunch of hoopla, while others knew that it was a trap set for Tyndareus' daughter by that mother-killing snake.
Where were you? What, did you flee in fear?
It happens that I, in Phrygian fashion, yes, Phrygian style, was waging a breeze against hellish, yes, Helen's locks of hair and waving a feather in front of her face, a barbarian custom, while she was twirling flax around a distaff, watching the thread fall to the floor. From the spoils of the Phrygians, she wanted to sew cloth, purple embroidered funeral cloths for Clytemnestra's tomb. Then Orestes spoke to her. Daughter of Zeus, can you stand up for like a second and then come over here to the ancient hearth of Pelops? I would like to talk to you. He led her away, and she followed. There was no seer in the room to predict what would happen next. And then, meanwhile, his partner in crime, that Phocian bastard, was completing other business. He shouted, "You Phrygians have always being cowards. Get out of my way. Then he locked us up in different parts of the house, some in the stables, others in the halls, all away from their master.
Go on, and then what happened?
Oh, a day of Mother Almighty, what I witnessed, the treacherous evils and lawless, murderous actions in the house of tyrants. The two boys drew their swords, looked side from side to ensure that no one was in the house there to witness. Then they said to her, "You are going to die. You're going to die, and it's all because of that bastard husband of yours. He completely traitored against his own nephew and then sealed my fate in Argos." She screamed, screamed, "No, no," as she beat her breast and her head with her white arms. Then she fled with golden slippers, but Orestes stood before her in his Mycenaean boots, grabbed her by the hair, twisted her head around her shoulder, ready to plunge his black sword into her throat.
Where were all of you Phrygians? Why didn't you help her?
When we heard the cries, we began to beat against the doors with iron bars of the rooms we were trapped inside. From all directions we rushed to help her. One with stones, another with a javelin, someone holding a sword in their hand, but Pylades stood before us like Phrygian Hector, like triple-plumed Ajax, as he stood before the skiing gates of Pallas's home. And then it was so quickly clear that the Phrygians were no match for him in the act of war, no match for his Hellene strength. One man cried as he fled, another was maimed, one was killed, and a fourth begging for his life. The rest of us fled into the darkness while some were dying, others about to die, and some were already dead. Then unlucky Hermione entered the room, just as her mother had been thrown to her knees and about to be executed. Like Bacchus, the boys rushed to seize her. Then, when they turned back to complete the execution, Helen had vanished from the room, as if she had walked through the wall. Oh, Zeus, earth, by light and night, by some kind of magic or sorcery or theft of the gods. I don't know what happened next, because that is when I left the room. But I do know that Menelaus went through so much trouble to steal Helen back from Troy, and it was all for vain.
Oh, here comes Orestes out of the house, sword in hand. He looks excited.
Where's the man who fled this house to escape death?
Oh, Lord, I prostrate myself to you and beg that you have mercy on me in my barbarian ways.
It's not Troy, it's Argos.
In every place, men prefer to live rather than to die.
So I imagine you weren't shouting for Menelaus' help, were you?
No, of course not. I was trying to warn you. You are most worthy.
So, was it right of me to kill the daughter of Tiberius?
Most right, even if she had 3 throats to slit.
Bullshit, you coward! You don't actually believe that.
Of course I do. She destroyed the Hellas and the Phrygians.
Fine. Swear you're being sincere or else I'll kill you.
I swear on my own life, and I'm uncertain to keep. Oh, put that sword away.
For all of the Phrygians at Troy as terrified by the sword as you are.
It's so close that the blood is reflecting on my face.
Worry it'll turn you to stone, like the eyes of a gourd.
To a gone? To stone? No, I'm afraid of being turned into a corpse.
The slave who fears Hades, the one true relief from a miserable life. How interesting.
Every man, slave or no, is happy to be alive.
Good point. Your wit is saved you. Get inside.
Oh, you're not going to kill me?
You're free to go.
What a wonderful statement!
Now I need to change my plans.
That's not a wonderful statement.
Oh, you moron. Do you actually think I'd waste my time blooding your corpse? You're not a woman, are you? Certainly not a man, either. I just needed you to stop shouting in front of the house. Your sharp screech could have excited Argos. But as for Menelaus, I'm not afraid to measure swords with him. Let him come all high and mighty, his locks of blonde hair flowing down his shoulders. If he dares gather up the Argives and march against my palace over the death of Helen, he'll have 2 bodies to collect. His wife and his daughter.
Oh, fortune! Oh, the house of Atreus falls to yet another fearful contest. What should we do? Should we tell the city, or keep our mouths shut, since it's in the best interest of our friends? Look! Look at the house! They have grabbed torches to burn down the house of Tantalus. They don't back out of the murder. A God determines the end of wars whenever he wishes. The power of vengeance is so great that the house has fallen. Fallen through blood by hurling Euripides from his chariot.
Oh, here comes Menelaus running towards the house. Oh, no doubt he's heard of what happened. The citizens of Athens, lock the doors! Oh, a lucky man and the terrifying adversary of unlucky one, like Orestes.
I just heard about the terrible deeds of those 2 lions. I refuse to call them men. I've been told that my wife isn't dead, but she vanished into thin air. That's a rumor. One told me it was delusional from fear. The plot of that mother killer is an utter joke. Let me in! Servants, I'm talking to you! Push open the gates so that I can rescue my daughter and collect my poor wife's body, destroy her killer! Hey, you! Get away from the door! Yes, I mean you Menelaus, you pompous prick. Or else I'll break off a chunk of this ancient cornice and smash your head. The doors have been locked and bolted, so you can't get in and come to the rescue. What's happening? Why do I see men with torches on the roof? Another man's a sword to my daughter's throat. Are you going to question me or let me speak? Neither, but I guess I have to listen. I am going to kill your daughter, you know. You already killed Helen. Why have more murder on top of that? Oh, I would have actually done that if not for the deceitful gods. Are you really going to deny killing her? What hubris? Sadly, I have to deny. But I am going to kill your daughter. Mother Killer is piling up his murders. I am the avenger of my father, whom you betrayed with the death sentence. It's not enough to have your mother's blood on your hands? No! I will never get tired of murdering these bitches. Finally, his partner's murdered. Silence says it all. I'll speak for him. You will pay for this, unless you find a way to fly away. Oh, we're not trying to escape. We're going to burn this place to the ground. You're really going to destroy your father's house? Just so you can't have it. And I'll offer this girl to the flames. If you kill her, I will have my revenge. Oh, that's fine. No, please don't. Shut up! Your punishment is justified, so just deal with it. Would it be better if you were allowed to live? Can't rule the land? Where? In Blaisgian Argos. Oh, because you're so qualified to administer purification. Why is it? And so prepared to slay your victims before you shoot. Yeah, and you are? My hands are clean. But not your heart. Who would even talk to you? Anyone who loves their father. What about someone who honors their mother? Well, those people love death. You certainly do. I will not dignify bitches. Take your sword away from my daughter's throat. You're a liar. So you're going to kill my daughter? Oh, now you're speaking truth. No, what should I do? Go and convince the Argives. What? Tell the city not to kill me. You're going to kill my daughter? Exactly. My poor Helen? How am I not poor? Went all the way to Troy to save her, just to be a victim. If only she had been. After all I've done. Except for helping me. I've suffered so much. And of no use to me. Fine, you got me. Oh, your coward has got you. Electra, Pylades, my best friends, light the place up from below. Burn the support beams. Land in the nave, see you. Citizens of Varga, come pick up your armor and help me. This guy is trying to have the city let him live. The one he polluted with his mother's blood.
Menelaus, calm down and soften your anger. I am Apollo, the son of Leto, here to speak with you. And Orestes, guarding that girl with your sword, listen to what I have to say. Helen is right here, wrapped in the air, safe and sound, since you failed to kill her and to anger Menelaus. I was ordered by Zeus to take her away and save her from your sword, since she is his daughter and belongs among the immortals. She will take her seat next to Castor and Pollux as a guide for mariners. You, Menelaus, will need to get yourself another wife and bring her to your home. The gods only set Helen as a catalyst between Hellenes and Phrygians to curb the outrageous number of mortals upon the earth. So, that's it for Helen. As for you, Orestes, you will need to cross the border and spend 1 year on Parrhasian soil, which will be renamed the Land of Orestes by the Atsanians and Arcadians, since it is where you will have fled. And when you get back from there, you will go to Athens and be tried by the 3 Furies for the murder of your mother. The gods will be the judges, and they will cast a just vote on the hill of Ares, where you will be quitted. Further, Orestes, you will marry Hermione, at whose neck you are currently holding a sword. Neoptolemus will never marry her, even though he thinks he will. He is fated to die by a Delphian sword when he comes to demand justice of me for the death of his father, Achilles. Also, Orestes, give your sister to Pylades, as you promised, because he deserves a happy life. Menelaus, let Orestes rule over the Argives, and you will go and rule over Sparta as a dowry for Helen, who from this day forward will no longer cause you countless problems. I will make things right between Orestes and the citizens, since I was the one who told him to kill his mother.
All hail Caesar Apollo and his oracles. You weren't lying after all, but really stayed true to your word. I've been afraid I was listening to some demon whenever I heard you speak to me. But it's all good now, and I'll do as you say. Look, I'm freeing the girl from death, and I agree to take her as my wife when her father decides to give her to me.
All hail Helen, daughter of Zeus. I am so happy for you and your new home among the gods. I give you my daughter, just as Apollo said. As a noble man, I hope you benefit from her, as much as I do by giving her.
All of you, get going to the places I've said, and reconcile your differences.
I must obey.
And so must I. I pour libation to my fate, Menelaus, and to your oracles, Apollo.
Go on, and honor peace, the fairest of the gods. Once I'm back in the starry sky, I will bring Helen to the halls of Zeus. She will be enthroned beside Hera and Heracles' bride Hebe, and be honored as a god with libations from men forever. She will be among the Tyndarians, sons of Zeus, as a guardian of the sea and an aid to sailors.
Oh, holy victory! Never my life and never stop crowning me!
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the show.